Hi everyone, welcome back to the IT and Psychology YouTube channel. Today we are going to be starting with our chapter 6, Psychological Disorders of Psychology 12th grade. So before we start, I would like to tell you that I've completed the first 5 chapters that include the discussion of our exercise solutions and thorough explanation of the concepts as we go on. And I've completed the SOPs, the first 8 SOPs for the IT subject, and I have completed 4 out of 6 chapters in that as well. And I've made singular videos on the reduced syllabus of both IT and psychology, and videos that include the questions that have been removed from either chapters. Sadly or unfortunately, none of the topics have been removed from our chapter 6, psychological disorders. All the chapters or all the topics that were mentioned in the videos that have been made in the past for the reduced syllabus include only the 25% reduced syllabus topics are mentioned in the other chapters, but from the chapter 6 none have been removed. So I'll be trying to complete a portion as soon as possible, that is before December. That is my aim, so that we can start our revisions and start over the topics or the questions that have been mentioned in the 21 question set Navdeep books. I've purchased them. You do not need to purchase them. I already have those. The newer ones that have been released this year for according to the new syllabus of HSC. So do not purchase anything. I'll provide everything here if you require. I have ordered the Psychology Digest as well. I'll upload the PDF version on the Telegram group, and I'll be uploading the IT Digest PDF on the Telegram group as well. You'll find both of these resources there, and in the future, I'll be putting questions from the Navdeep 21 set question book, and you'll be receiving questionnaires or exemplars as we go on. So here we start with our chapter 6, psychological disorders. So here we have been given with our subtopics or our units that we'll be going forward with, and as we move forward we'll be learning different types of psychological disorders, what cause psychological disorders, and how they can be, what do you call it, how can you know if an individual has any psychological disorders, and what is the scale of the psychological disorders that have been given in different theories or different diagrams as we go through the chapter. So for today we'll be covering up the first 4 units, and we'll complete our the rest of the 3 units in our next part. So let's start. We have our learning objectives here. Just go through this to have a proper overview of what we'll be learning in this chapter. Here we start with 6.1 Introduction. In Standard 11th, we have learnt about abnormal behavior. We also tried to understand what are the criteria for the abnormality. To sum up what we have already learnt, the major criteria that we discussed were deviance, personal distress, and impaired functioning. Now let us study the examples given below. So as our introduction says, that we have learnt a few topics that are deviance, personal distress, and impaired functioning. I'll just tell you that on which pages these are mentioned, so that you guys can search for this and get a proper explanation of what, or a proper head start of what we'll be learning in this chapter. You have your If you have your IT textbook around you, your psychology textbook for the 11th grade around you, just open it to page 51, criteria for abnormality. This will give you an overview of what deviance, personal distress, and impaired functioning are all about. So here we continue with our activity 1 that will give us an overview of our 6.1 introduction, or what are the examples that we need to learn so that we can understand this topic. Activity 1, On the basis of your understanding of various criteria for abnormality, which of these would you consider as normal or abnormal behavior? The first example, that is, Hemant wears the same lucky blue shirt for all his major competitive exams. Second, Seema is not able to fall asleep easily. Third, Rakesh throws pillows and pounding fists on the wall during arguments if he finds himself losing the ground. Fourth, Reena always experiences fear but is not able to specify what is so scary. So, most of us will find it difficult to decide whether any of the above can be considered as normal or abnormal and find it difficult to classify on a clear cut basis. Why is it so? We will try to understand this in the next section. Nature of psychological disorders. So, before we start this, I would like to tell you that till this part we cannot actually rectify or actually detect any psychological disorders. So none of these can be specified into normal or abnormal as of now. We'll be moving forward to understanding the natures of various psychological disorders and a scale, a 4-stage scale that we'll be learning in this unit itself. So we continue to our unit 6.1, nature of psychological disorders. We observed that distinguishing normal behavior from abnormal is not very easy. This is because illness and absence of illness are not two different categories as we think. According to the mental health continuum model, Keyes 2002, they are two opposite poles of the same continuum sequence in which two adjacent points are not clearly different from each other. So they seem to be different, but they aren't different, and they refer to the same categories. So an individual can be on any point at any particular time, and we keep shifting our position on it as our situations improve or deteriorate. So this shows that in any individual's state or like situations, as the situations improve, or if you have a very good day, your mental health or your psychological disorders do not show up. But as they get worsened, they start to show their colors, or it happens in the other situation as well. So it happens at any time. Our position on this scale keeps shifting. For convenience of better understanding, let us mark on this continuum 4 stages. Let us study this with the help of the following diagram. As I said, there is this diagram we need to refer to understand the stages of natures of psychological disorders. At stage 1, an individual is extremely healthy. At stage 2, he or she is moderately healthy. You're moderately unhealthy. Then we have extremely unhealthy. So now we'll have an elaborate explanation of either of these steps or stages. In stage 1, these individuals are positive and are functioning well. They show stable mood. They are calm, peaceful and satisfied with life. They feel motivated and energetic. They are physically as well as psychologically healthy. You might have experienced this during times when there is nothing to worry and you are overall contented, or you can say overall maintained. They are satisfied with their life. So our stage 1 shows us an individual who is self-motivated and energetic at all times and does not have any problems that are causing any negative effect on his or her life. Then we move forward to moderately healthy, that is our stage 2. These individuals are neutral but reactive. They do feel nervous and worried at times and get affected by the stresses of life. Sometimes they may doubt themselves, which will cause anxiety, and this can affect their performance. They may lack or they may feel tired soon and may lack energy. You might have experienced this too, say while facing the examination or at the time of interview. But in this stage, if individuals become more realistic and accept their limitations or constraints placed by the environment, they can manage to reduce the stress. At the same time, following a healthy diet and a healthy lifestyle while with adequate rest and by engaging in more social activities, it is possible to push themselves back towards positive, healthy functioning. So this is a very inert, not actually inert position, but an individual is affected by the environment or the surroundings, whereas in stage 1 an individual is not affected by any negatives and is happy and positive almost every in almost every aspect of his or her life. Here there are limitations, there are constraints placed by the environment, and these affect and the individual's life in some aspects, but they can still correct those negative parts and bring out their positive self. In stage 3, that is are moderately unhealthy, when the individuals are at point of stage 3, they show signs of psychological damage and they are moderately ill. They may experience negative feelings like sadness, fear, inadequacy, restlessness, or irritability. They may lack motivation to take up new challenges. Sometimes they feel overall apathy and feel tired even while completing their daily routine or work. Their relationships may get strained and may even turn towards drug abuse or alcohol. Though they show clear signs of mental illness, they may still be productive and functioning properly. They may find difficult to do it, but this point is also not irreversible. By consciously trying to find the realistic root cause of the stress and with the help of emotional support, such individuals can fight with the moderate illness they are facing. They can get emotional support either from their family and friends, or at times they may need professional help. So they are not at the worst part, but they still have some mental illness or psychological damage and they are moderately ill. These might show symptoms of drug abuse, or these could move forward to a person actually being productive and functioning properly as well. But these aspects, the negative feelings, are an issue as well. So this was a stage 3. Then we move forward to our extremely unhealthy. Individuals show clear signs of major psychological disorder. They may show extreme distress and impairment in all 3 areas of functioning, that is, mental, emotional, and social. They need professional care and treatment. So this was our mental health continuum model. Just write in your own words in your notebook so that you can be ready for writing in your own words in the exam as well. If they ask you, please explain what is the mental health continuum model, because they'll ask such models only. They won't ask you describe or tell us when was this found or whatever. Those will come in the objectives part. But in the big answer or that answer in brief, they ask you, please describe or please explain the 4 stages of the mental health continuum model. So just mark it as important. Criteria for psychological disorders. An individual keeps shifting from one stage to another depending on his or her life circumstances. In such situations, how do we decide whether a particular person is suffering from any psychological disorder or not? The mental health professionals currently use diagnostic procedures to make decisions. For such purposes, generally DSM and ICD criteria are currently used. If you do not know what DSM and ICD are, ICD is the International Classification of Diseases and DSM is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. According to the present DSM-5, there are 5 criteria for psychological disorders. Let us study them in detail. So these were our criteria that we will be moving forward to understanding what psychological disorders actually are. And we'll be having 2 activities that describe them to us. So let's start. First one being clinically significant syndrome. When we have some physical symptoms or complaints, we know that we are ill. In the same way, in psychological disorders, there should be certain patterns of important behavioral or psychological syndrome that occurs in an individual. There are certain symptoms that occur together in a particular disorder. These clusters of symptoms together is called a syndrome. So here we have the psychologists rely on these syndromes to diagnose the disorder. We will study about these syndromes in the section where we will examine a few disorders, a few psychological disorders. So this was the first criteria. So we'll move forward to our second criteria. For that you need to understand that what we have learned in our first criteria. We move forward. This shows us our definition of a syndrome. What are the psychological or behavioral symptoms that can be converted into certain patterns that interpreted by a psychologist. Second criteria set is distress and impairment. There should be presence of distress and or impairment. We have already learned about distress as well as impairment in standard 11th. Distress is the psychological pain. The pain may arise due to negative feelings like sadness, fear, inadequacy, restlessness, or irritability. It may also be due to stress. Impairment is inability or difficulty to perform appropriate duties and roles in personal, social, and work-related situations. So this was the definition for distress and impairment, and what causes distress and what is the root cause for impairment. So what causes distress? Distress is caused due to negative feelings, like feeling left out, being irritated by an individual, being bullied, restlessness, the fear, and the immense stress and peer pressure. Impairment is the inability or difficulty to perform appropriate duties and roles in personal or other criteria or other situations. So impairment is a kind of disability. Then we move forward to dysfunction as our third criteria. If the symptoms lead to an underlying psychological, biological or developmental dysfunctions, then it leads to the diagnosis of mental disorder. Example, inability to remember, inability to learn, inability to concentrate, etc. are types of dysfunctions. So that was our unit 3. I hope you have understood what these criteria, sorry, not unit 3. That was our criteria number 3. If you would have understood it, it's okay. And if you have not understood it, Please contact me on Telegram via the link given in the description. That is the group for doubts. You can contact me there, ask your doubts. And if you want to see the videos, there will be playlists mentioned in the description. And let's continue with our fourth criteria. If any response given to stressors or losses are accepted as a response to that situation, it is not considered as a sign of mental disorder. It should not be a response that is normally given to common stressors and losses, like sadness experienced at the death of a loved one, or is not a sign of any mental disorder, or it should not be a culturally sanctioned response to a particular event. Example, trance state in certain religious rituals should not be considered as a sign of mental disorder. So this was our response to stresses or losses accepted as a response to a given situation. This gives us rectification to what we consider as mental disorders and what we do not consider as mental disorders. Then we continue to our fifth criteria. Any behavior which is just deviant or conflicting with society but not reducing dysfunction or distress or disability, then it does not become a sign of mental disorder. Behavior should not solely be result of social or cultural deviance or conflicts with society or conflicts with political system. For example, in certain societies and cultures, homosexuality is considered as abnormal behavior. But according to DSM-5, it is not considered as a sign of disorder. In short, psychological disorders or mental illness is a condition of or clinical syndrome which involves changes in emotions, thinking and behavior or a combination of these, such that it leads to distress, dysfunction and or impairment. Before we study about various psychological disorders, let us study about some important concepts and issues related to mental health. So, before we start this, I would like to tell you that we'll be continuing this in the next lecture due to some issues. So please like, share and subscribe. And again, I'm telling you, if you have any doubts pertaining the topics taught in this video or the topics taught in previous videos, I would like you to contact me on Telegram via the link given in the description. That is the link for the group for doubts. And you can watch the videos for the previous chapters that have been completed. You'll find the links for the playlists in the description. And if you want to support the channel, please follow me on Patreon via the link given in the description. And I'm sorry for the uneven days that I've been uploading, but I assure you that we'll be completing the chapter by December max, and we'll have ample of time to revise it, and we'll have time to complete our chapters from the revision or the Navneet 21 question book. Bye.